Hi, I'm Becca. I just filmed this and my microphone wasn't on, so we're redoing it. I wanted to come on here today and just talk about my spiritual journey and my experience with manifesting, my self discovery journey, and I want to share it so that other people don't make the mistakes that I did. Not necessarily that I think they're mistakes, but I was stuck in a depression for so long that kept me from seeing what was right in front of me. I want other people to not feel so alone like I did. Not that I even felt alone. For the last year of my life, I have been in a depression. Um, not, I wouldn't say a deep depression, because I was still very functioning. I was still doing the things that I needed to do. I never failed in school or anything. I always kept up what I needed to. But I found myself in this depression and I kept wondering what was wrong with me. Oh my gosh, here comes the light, sunlight. I always wondered what was wrong with me, that all of these things seemed to happen to me. I kept thinking that I had bad luck. I find four-leaf clovers all the time, and I just knew that I couldn't have bad luck. I just knew somewhere I had to have good luck, and I've learned now that I have amazing luck. The biggest mistake I would say I made, even though I don't like to call it a mistake, was making manifestations without fully understanding what I was getting into. And now I've realized I'm me and the moon are like this, we're, we're like this. So, and now I know how to manage manifesting and eclipses and all of that. So I want to share my experience and kind of give my insight if someone out there um, is going through something similar like I did. So I made these manifestations in 2023, the night of the super full harvest moon, and it was a partial lunar eclipse, I believe, and it was supposed to be very powerful. So I saw it on TikTok that it was this powerful moon and I need to manifest. So I did, of course. I did. I don't think that definitely bad things didn't happen. Like nothing bad happened, but I definitely learned more lessons than normal than I should have, I think. The night of the eclipse, I matched with my boyfriend on Tinder, okay? My boyfriend now. And we didn't end up meeting until a year and a half later. A year and a half later exactly, my nephew was born under an eclipse. So, my favorite Twilight book is Eclipse too. I wonder if that's why. Like, if this is why, I've always just been so drawn to Eclipse for some reason. I mean, it's fucking amazing. The movie is amazing. Hello? Uh, sorry for the Twilight rant. So, my nephew was born on the next March 29th. The other eclipse was September 29th. So, they're exactly on the same day from each other. A year and a half. At that point, me and my boyfriend had finally met, and I think, yeah, we had just started dating, like, actually. So that's like that same week that he was born. So that's sweet. My depression soon turned into mania after my nephew was born. And I came home. I live in New York City. I came home. It was the longest time I had been away from home, from like January. I came back early in January for my job, and then I ended up losing that job. I just lost my job, and I didn't really know what to do because I was relying on that job for money. And New York City isn't cheap, so I was kind of freaking out what I was gonna do. And I got another job, but I was hospitalized, so I wasn't able to work it. My whole journey has just made me so strong and so much stronger. I started smoking weed a lot, and I think I started smoking weed the end of 2023. So after I had made those manifestations, all the manifestations I made, I wrote them for the next month, for October, which is when my birthday is. Fun fact, I love being a Libra. That's my favorite thing ever. I made all these manifestations for October, and none of them came true until my nephew was born. really, until the next eclipse that something happened under. And I even made jokes when he was born that like my sister had to have this baby on the night of an eclipse. Like it just had to be. And it happened. He was born right in the middle of it, like 15 minutes into it, which is so amazing and marvelous. I honestly, I still can't believe that. Like that's amazing because I don't think if that happened, well, no, I know that he was meant to be born that day. We are all meant to be born on the days we are born. And it was one of the events, one of the first events that kind of rocked my world, brought so much positivity into my life that it kind of started the mania. There are three events that I contribute to that, and it is my nephew being born, Easter, my mama's birthday being right before Easter, and Easter being on 420. With the aforementioned weed, I began smoking a lot. So I was just like compensating for not being medicated, I think, and losing my coping mechanisms and my coping skills because in high school when my mom passed away my senior year, I had a lot of hobbies, okay? I was knitting all the time, was reading books, I was watching movies. I literally wrote an article in high school called The Importance of Having Hobbies. People always joked that I always had to be doing something, and it's true because I had to. Because subconsciously I was doing that to overcompensate coping with my mom's death because I think I just didn't know what to do when she died. And I always knew whenever she passed away that she would, send someone my way. But I don't think she just sent me one. I think she sent me all of them, the good and the bad. I've been on enough dates to realize that they were all lessons that I had to learn from. And not even necessarily even people that I've dated, just like in any sense. Anyone that has ever like left my life, or if they leave and they come back and they just keep coming back, there's a reason for that. And I've been able to explain all of these reasons after awakening, after having this spiritual awakening. And a lot of it comes back to my dreams. I remember the week before Easter, I was at my grandma's house and I had this feeling in my head all of a sudden that like I couldn't go to sleep. And I know now that that was the mania starting. But at the time I didn't. And I get like really nauseated if I stay up too late whenever I feel like that. I mean, when I'm manic, I guess. And thinking about it now, that only happens to me when I'm manic. And I just don't think I've realized it. I just don't think I knew my entire life that that's what it was. So, a big part of this for me has been my dreams. I've always been a very intuitive person, especially when it came to my dreams. I've always known when my dreams mean something. From a young age, I was having repeated dreams that I now know the meaning of because I've been studying dream interpretations, of course. Recently, since the mania, it has been a very big, prominent force in my life. I'm having these insightful dreams every single night now. And through my mania, I started having bad dreams and it caused like this feeling of doom in my head that something big was going to happen, something wrong was going to happen. And I was so worried because when my nephew was born, he was put in the NICU and he was there almost the same amount of time that I was in the NICU because I was born 7 weeks early. I was really worried about him and about my other family members the entire time, like thinking that something was going to happen to them. Like I was so afraid of it. Like that was the only thing that I was afraid of in my mania. By the end of it, when I started having psychosis, I knew that the doom that I was feeling was the psychosis happening because I have researched spiritual psychosis before. There were so many warning signs I saw in my like now that I see a month later the same way that I saw warning signs before my mom died. Like, it's just very interesting the way the universe does these things to us. And not necessarily that they are being done to us, but they are done for us, for whatever overarching silver lining there is to be found. And since choosing to like recover, kind of, and choosing to live a life of love and happiness, I feel the light all around me constantly. And people in my mania, especially, so many people were drawn to the energy that I had amped up and created. Every time I was smoking outside of my apartment, someone was coming up to me and saying something. And yes, it may be 8th Avenue in New York City, but that did not happen to me until that like week really. Like or until I met my boyfriend and we started smoking together outside. Like people were just naturally drawn to me and I've kind of had like that magnetism for my whole life. The whole experience has just made me realize the gifts that I have been in tune with my entire life, and I just know how to control them now. And in the mania and the psychosis, I was out of control because I didn't know what to do. I felt like I was rediscovering my entire life. I was reborn. I kind of was just going crazy with it, and I wasn't even researching. I hadn't looked up anything. Everything that I was saying was coming from my own head and my own mind because I know my third eye was literally like opened to the universe. And it wasn't even scary. I like a lot of people always feel like someone's out to get them when they have psychosis or they're scared, but I never was scared. I was telling everyone that I'm okay and I'm safe the entire time because, like I said, I had a witness with me, my boyfriend. He was with me the entire time. Once I was in the hospital and I didn't have any online resources, I just had books. I began rereading books that I had read recently, one of them being The Reluctant Fundamentalist. And I noticed a lot of traits in all of these books that were very similar to my life to the point that it's like undeniable. And I've heard of this happening to people before, but like every single book that I read had some direct connection to my life that I did not know prior. And I've read books, this has happened to me before. I read Richard Hell's biography. I can't remember what it's called. Something about a tramp. But he's from Lexington, which is where I'm from. And he moves to New York. He still lives in New York. I live in New York now. I'm currently not there, but he literally like grew up like right where I grew up. Like it's crazy. I didn't even know that until I started reading it. Another book I read about a kid from New York, from Long Island, who moves to Lexington and like has his awakening of music here. And I had never heard anything about that book before. In that book, it's set in the 80s. He goes to a concert that my mom went to in the 80s and always talked about going to. So I read that after she passed too. So I was just like, oh. But in the hospital, I reread The Reluctant Fundamentalist. That book is all about moving home from New York and the longing of being in two places and loving a place like New York City but loving where you're from and having to choose between both sides. And I've had to do that recently since my hospitalization. The next one was In the Time of the Butterflies, and that book is about a revolution in the Dominican Republic. And the event that the book was written about, the day it took place, was my boyfriend's birthday. And that's also the exact day that I was supposed to be born, my due date, 7 weeks after my birthday. So the universal timing of everything is just so, like, not even questionable. It's so certain that it's crazy. I've met so many intelligent people through all of this, and that happen to have mental illness like myself. I don't want to say that we are not crazy, but I think the craziness amplifies the experience of life and has amplified my ability to be creative. I think living a life of love and creativity and abundance is all you can do and all you can ask for. And if that's what you enjoy, that's what you should do. So that's what I am hoping to do and what I am doing with my life because I have taken over my life. And knowing that God and the universe and source and spirit and whatever you want to call it all has a way for you. I have seen the effects of manifestation right in front of my eyes. In the height of my mania, it felt like I was manifesting things and they were happening right in front of me. Even like thinking the thoughts, they would happen. And in doing that, that was like another mistake that I was making. I started setting good intentions before I went anywhere, like meditating and praying or lighting incense, whatever the case may be. But I was doing all of these practices before I would leave places because usually when I would leave, I felt like bad things would come, or like the evil energy I kept calling of New York City was trying to get me. Not necessarily that it was trying to get me. Like, I never felt like anything was out to get me. I would just be like, oh, well, I know why that's happening. And I would say it like that with a straight face. Because I would be like, what can I do about it? The biggest mistake that I think I made was not doing research before getting into things that I didn't completely know of the outcome, which is why a lot of people have psychosis. I grew up in the lens of Christianity and around religious people and a religious family, going to a Christian school. A lot of the things that influenced my psychosis had been thrown at me my whole life, and it was all out of, I think that my psychosis was a amalgamation of my fear in religion. Not necessarily that I have a fear of religion. Until now, I haven't found ways to express or practice my religion or spirituality in a way that made sense to me, because I don't really understand going to church and having to like pay your tithes to the church in order to be a good Christian. I think you can do things for God and of God every single day. And I think the weather is getting a bit crappy. You can do things of God and for God every day. And that still makes you a good person. And all you can do is live a life of love, as I keep saying. That's all you can do, is find love in your heart and love in everything. And good things will come to you. Stop saying, oh, what if this happens? Or what if this goes wrong? What if it goes right? What if? What if? Stop saying, this will happen one day. I wish this would happen. And start saying, it will. And it will happen. Like, it will begin to happen for you. I've seen it. The time just 12/12. There we go. It all comes back to me, to numerology and birthdays and death days and holidays, because my entire life I have been making these patterns and making these connections. And I've now finally realized what it all means. And I want to share my experience and my journey and my insight so that other people don't feel so alone. Not in both the sense of feeling outcasted by your religion or spirituality, or for your spirituality or religion, but also because of the bipolar episode that my awakening was enhanced by. Because, like I said, we are not crazy. I want to advocate and let people be heard. I think it's about to rain right now, so I should finish this up. I want this channel to be a place for me to pour my creativity and thoughts into, and kind of act as my visual diary of sorts. So, oh, you can see the rain, it's raining. You gotta end this. If there's one thing you should do, it should be to never take food advice from me, because I'm eating a salad with buffalo sauce and honey mustard on it, so whatever. But I just wanted to come on here to end this and say that I have a website called The Cursed Clover. It's like a blog. I have my knitting work on there and other things, and my articles kind of go as companions to most of my videos that I'm going to be posting. So if you are interested in that, go check it out. And I'm gonna go eat my salad now, so